Hello, Free Rotation Nation, and welcome to another week's episode. And we have a special treat for you today. We are joined by RaeganRageQuit, or Raging Cajun, as I, keep saying. And we're adding a new entertainment segment to the podcast, but we're going to kick off with a full episode discussing something very hot in the entertainment news right now. We are also joined with Becky.
Don't ever consent to them searching your car.
And Chris.
Hey.
And I'm Angie. And we're going to let Reagan take it away.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so, I'll just kind of be here just kind of talking about the nerd scope and everything. But today, we're going to do a full-ass episode because, my God. Co-creator of Rick and Morty, Justin Roiland, is facing 2 counts of felony domestic violence charges this week. And
he's that same guy who recently came out about the kids, right? The grooming?
That's a whole nother side of the story. But so...
a multifaceted creep.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, my God. Okay, so we're just going to unpack what's going on as far as legal proceedings. Okay, so the charges that he's facing are false imprisonment and domestic battery resulting in corporal injury. So, yeah.
You know what's interesting about these charges? Is they're from 2020. And the networks didn't drop him until right now when all the other bullshit came out.
Right. And a lot of people are wondering why. Why it's been so well under wraps. And because that doesn't look good.
Well, NBC...
Right. That's not a good look.
NBC dropped him, weeks before all this hit the fan.
Yeah. NBC was the first one.
I'm sure they all knew.
Right.
Oh, there's no way to keep this under wraps?
Yeah.
You gotta go, homie.
Okay, so per NBC, the last hearing was in January, I believe January 13th, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm like, did somebody snap a picture of him coming out of the courtroom or something?
Yeah.
Or what? But NBC did say that they actually got a hold of it's a record. But okay, so he's facing 2 felony charges, one for domestic battery resulting in corporal injury and false imprisonment by an unnamed woman who he was dating allegedly back in 2020. So we don't know who this person is or what's going on. All we know is there are legal proceedings.
Right, and it was serious enough that he had a TPA issued that extended through October of 2023.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So something happened, and it was basically can't look at her, can't stalk her, can't do anything, 100 feet.
And with them charging him, I assume they have some sort of, actual evidence.
Well, a lot of times they'll, especially if you have a domestic violence situation, they will issue a 3-year protective order. In civil court, because it's a civil proceeding, it actually only need, by the preponderance of the evidence, because it's a 3-year protective order, you don't have to prove the case. But if there's just enough evidence to go forward to say that this either happened or there is some concern of what
there's some
future outcome is going on, it's going to happen. Well, it's going to be issued.
And I was confused about what the corporal harm meant, because that means bodily harm. But so she either had to be taken to the hospital or she had visible choking bruises on her neck. There was visible proof that something happened.
Yeah, absolutely. So back in October of 2020, he pled not guilty. He's saying, no, that I didn't do this. But the incident started in January. It started on or around January 19th of 2020. A criminal complaint was filed in May of 2020. And Roiland was arrested in August of 2020, and he was released on bail for $50,000. Next was an arraignment in 2020 where in October of 2020, where he pled not guilty to these charges. And then after that, I assume at the arraignment, because these both happened in October of 2020, there was a protective order filed. And so all of that would normally be public record is under a protective order as well. I don't know. I guess it's because it's a high profile thing, or it is now.
Or maybe because of who she is. We still don't know who she is.
Yes, that's true. So yeah, I mean, you're probably right, because she's anonymous. Nobody knows. But anyway.
But we do know a lot of the people a lot of the girls he has DM'd and messaged are all they're just it's just randos that are like underage and are kind of smitten with what he's created. And it's like, bro, you can't be that way.
Yeah,
like,
that's a whole nother part of it. But anyway, but another thing interesting that I wanted to point out is the protective order was filed in October of 2020, and it runs until October of 2023. But another thing that I found interesting is that there have been over a dozen court hearings about this, including pretrials, which means there's a lot of back and forth going on. So, a lot of bickering. So, this could go in either way. Because, we saw the whole thing with Johnny Depp and everything, and Disney cut ties with him immediately. You know what I mean? And so, we all know how that ended up.
Yeah.
And, they right back on. So, that could be a thing that can happen. But
you know what I find interesting is that he co-created, executive produced these shows that he's been booted off of. So it just kind of makes you think, like, when you sell your intellectual property, keep in mind what you lose if they just decide to get rid of you.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he shouldn't have been. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I think this happens a lot.
Well, there is what I can see from the side of working it is that they're delaying any sort of negotiated plea, or maybe he has pled out, I don't know, or he's been on a trial calendar several times and they're just like, we're not going to go forward bumping it. Because what happens is, I mean, a lot of times they won't fire people if there is not a conviction, because they're still
didn't
alleged.
A lot of things get bumped due to COVID?
A lot, yeah.
So
There was at least over a year that we didn't try any cases because of COVID.
I look at it a lot, especially in the entertainment industry. James Gunn got let go from Guardians because of some tweets when he was working for Troma 15 years ago. Like, what? Chris Hardwick, when he was hosting Fear the Walking Dead, they said that he was sexually assaulted a lady. Fear the Walking Dead fired him, and it came out that he had hugged her.
Yeah, it wasn't true.
Just hugged her.
So,
that was it. So, like, a lot of these companies they're basically damage control and just get rid of it at first. And if everything works out in their favor, we can rehire them. But if it doesn't, it looks like we were ahead of it. Unfortunately,
corporations these days they're just not able to take a lot of risks when it comes to this sort of thing.
Well, public outcry kills.
Yeah, and we live in a world where social media, you can instantaneously know something's going on
and ruin somebody.
Well, that and there's so many people that are looking to cancel people. So if you give them a reason, they will take it.
Absolutely. The next court hearing is April 27th of this year. So I guess we're kind of just at a standstill. We don't know what we don't know, and that's kind of where it is. The bottom line is, when it comes to the domestic charges, we don't know if he's guilty. No one does. We don't know that he's not guilty. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
It's an unfolding story, and we're just gonna have to.
That's why I think that they use that as an excuse to drop him based on these tweets.
So the thing is, like, apparently he's a drunken asshole a lot of the time, and people just don't want to deal with him.
Right.
Well, when you go, because he's like one of the known secrets where they know he's creepy and he's a creeper. So I saw on this Reddit post that, like, why is he allowed? And they're like, because it's just a rumor. A known secret is just a rumor. You can't prosecute somebody because you know they're creepy.
Yeah, it's like the Harvey Weinstein thing.
Yeah, they knew it.
Everybody knew what a creeper that dude was, but until something legal got moved forward,
right,
you couldn't do anything.
And it's the same thing with Stan Lee. Like, okay, we're gonna get a lot of shit for this, but Stan Lee was racist, he was sexist, and he took credit for a lot of stuff he didn't actually write. But you don't hear about it. It was like one of those known secrets that he's miserable to work with him for. But those of us who don't have to work with him, the man's
he loves his work. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again,
we look at him like, wow, he's Stan Lee.
And I look at it like I don't know anything about his racist or any of that. Like, I've never even heard of any of it because I've never really looked into it. Mm-hmm. But I also look at it as Stan Lee was old as hell and came from that generation, and it's like,
exactly,
you can't fix people from 100 years ago. You can only fix yourself going forward now, and now it's unacceptable. But things that were accepted 100 years ago, we look at it through our eyes, which they're not. It's not okay. But back then, it was just like, okay.
Same for ghostwriting and taking credit.
Yeah.
Like, you work for me, you wrote it.
I get the credit.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it
that's
just
not
is
difficult.
what it is. And that's why you don't see, like, as podcasters, like, let's do a tell-all about Stan Lee, because it's just a different time.
Well, that and he's so beloved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back and, you know, do one of the silent film directors. You know, I'm sure that there's a lot to be said about
Reagan.
Oh,
that. Stop it right now.
I mean, there's yeah. Anyway,
I was
certain track
I was telling
record
Casey the other day that LBJ
patterns, if you will.
literally named his wiener Jumbo and would pull it out on foreign dignitaries.
Ugh.
Like, yeah, LBJ was a nightmare of a human, but
What?
he was a man in power.
I mean,
from the 50s and 60s.
to be fair,
like, what are you going to do?
Just pull my dick out. Let's go.
But he did, and
Yeah.
there were never any trials or anything brought about it. It was just like,
Mm-mm.
Lyndon might pull his dick out if you hang out with him. Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Well, they even actually kind of on Forrest Gump alluded to this, like, can I see that later?
yeah.
And he just, you know, shows his ass right there. We know these.
But the things that were acceptable 50, 100 years ago are not acceptable today.
Yeah, we've progressed.
Yeah, that's how this thing works.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like, I don't hold Stan Lee. Like, I'm not gonna be mad at him because he was racist but he was born in 1911. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
And sexist.
Yeah, I mean,
and saw women as fulfilling a role.
And when you hear that, I know we're kind of getting off the subject here, but when you hear racist, and you hear about someone being a racist and they just happen to be of that generation, yeah, they just grew up around it. It is what it is. That's still to me not an acceptable answer, but
no,
because
but it's a mitigating answer.
But,
right.
It's
It's
also,
they're old, so you know what I mean. It is what it is.
You can't say just they were old. It's also, you have to remember, they were indoctrinated with it.
Right.
They were taught black people have skulls that are thicker than white people. Their IQs are lower. They thought this was science.
Old people are supposed to be wise, right? Crack a book.
Like, well, again, these were their books. You have to remember.
No. I mean today. You know what I'm saying? But like, I just don't like that answer. Like, that's part of the.
Yeah, I don't think. I agree. I don't agree.
It still makes it. It's still not wrong.
It's still not right, but
No.
it's something that you have to sort of. You can't be angry about. In
Right.
my
Well,
opinion.
my mentor at work, who taught me everything, she was much older than me, and you know, being gay and working with her, she opened up to me one time and said, you know, I've learned a lot. Like, you're just a person.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Where?
And she's like, you have to remember when I was in high school, black people didn't go with us. We were told they weren't worthy. They weren't anywhere near accepting it. She was actually at Noonan High School when the first black person went, and she said, what we did to that poor girl, it's not right. But she's like, we were told it was right.
Well, that, and again, we're looking at it through our eyes where we have, literally on our phones, we can find any information we want at any given time. 30 years ago, that wasn't the case.
No.
If someone told you something was science and it was proven, you either had to look it up yourself or accept it.
Picture Mike because the cat knocked it.
Yeah, listeners, Chris wasn't like spinning in circles. No. That was a cat spinning his mic.
But yeah, I mean, people don't think about it, but literally 30 years ago, if you wanted to know where the Killers, the band, was from, if someone told you Wyoming and you didn't go look it up, you assumed they were from Wyoming.
In a card catalog or maybe a magazine you might find.
That's it.
Well, I was about to say, bringing it sort of back into topic to what we're talking about now.
No. Justin Roiland's not racist. That's not.
No, I'm not even talking about that.
We don't know yet.
Well, I was going to say, we don't even live in that sort of world anymore. Like, where, like, now people just instantaneously know what's going on. Mm-hmm. So now it's like, oh, you need to be taken off the world, I guess.
You can know better because there is information to
exactly. That's what I was getting at too. Is like you should know better at this point, especially when you say fucking stupid shit like he did and did.
Well, and the thing is that with the domestic abuse, we don't know. He's innocent till proven guilty.
Absolutely.
The network shouldn't have dropped him on a supposition, but what we do know and have proof of are these awful tweets, the things he has said
the DMs.
From his own mouth on his podcast.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, so I was just gonna say, okay, what we see on record here, what we're seeing is consistently reported are these legal proceedings about the domestic abuse. That's it. Now things are starting to emerge on social media. First, it was creepy tweets. Yeah, I mean, those are easily made. Those are very easily made. I am not apologizing for anybody. I'm not trying to make excuses for anybody, but those can be easily made on Photoshop super quick. You know what I'm saying? But then you also have people like Allie Gortz, who's coming forward. She actually made the concept album for Rick and Morty. I want to say it's called Sad Dance Songs. Anyway, she's the artist that made it. And she got some pretty disturbing messages that were funny, according to Justin Roiland, that she posted on her Twitter. And I don't know that she would risk her job. I don't know, do something trying to get
harmful to her boss,
right? Yeah. I mean, well, she's not even. She doesn't work with him anymore. But what happened was he had messaged her about doing another doing a song for the show. This is the message. These are she just posted this on her Twitter, but it is. I mean, it's worth a Google. She worked with
which I think even gives more legitimation to the fact it's not some rando who's like, hey, this guy once messaged me. He asked if I liked elbows or something. That's
precisely why I wanted to bring her up, because that seems a little bit that seems to hold a little bit more water. Yeah, so that's exactly why I wanted to bring up Allie Gortz. This is part of the speculation. This is something that she posted on her Twitter. She was she's an artist that did the concept album for Rick and Morty called Sad Dance Songs. Roiland had reached out to her, after that, and he asked her to write a song. And I'm going to read the tweets right now that she posted on her Twitter. Here we go. The DMs that are emerging, those can be easily faked. However, this Allie Gortz, she worked with Rick and Morty, and she did the concept album for the show called Sad Dance Songs. And this is a message that she decided to tweet after it came out, after the domestic charges came out. She said that it empowered her. It made her feel like, okay, I can probably talk about this now because it's coming to light. Things are coming to light. And again, that may be what's going on.
You're not the only voice whistling in the wind.
Right, exactly. And we can all expect for things, when things like this happen.
It gives you empowerment.
Well, absolutely. But things start to surface.
And you're not alone.
People are going to listen now.
That's the big thing, is especially when you're trying to take down, and I know if you're not in the in that sphere, Justin Roiland doesn't seem like anything, but Rick and Morty is one of the top shows on television.
Right. And he has a Hulu show. And Netflix.
And a game company. You're trying to take down a titan of that specific industry, and if you're just one voice, that's terrifying.
Rick and Morty even has Dungeons and Dragons modules.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But when other people have come forward, you can get together and you don't feel so alone.
And you think, oh, I'm not the only one.
Yeah, it wasn't just me.
Right.
Because a lot of that is you feel like, why were you targeted? Because you're the weak link. You're this.
I didn't misinterpret anything.
Exactly. He did absolutely mean this.
Wow.
So what did he say?
Wow.
Or she said. Or he said. She said.
This is happening, so I'm going to probably talk about it. All right, so Allie posted on her Twitter, I'll say more... Quote, I'll say more later. For now, I'll just share these types of, quote, funny DMs Justin Roiland would send me. I posted and deleted this last night because I was worried about any backlash, but this dude made me. Someone who wrote a Rick and Morty concept album, never watched the show again. That's what she said. And the messages, she posted a screenshot of the messages from Justin Roiland. Can you write a song about 9 dicks of different size and ethnicities and origins hanging above your face? And then in the lyrics, describe how they each splatter you with semen. But, important, the larger message of the song is about how we are all the same. No more racism. And then another message is, who is this, quote, Lee character? The next message, why does she have to find parking? Why are you such a huge faggot? Answer later. And then a few minutes later, he says, sorry, Allie, I'm okay. On my 4th glass of wine. This was off the record. Don't betray my trust, you asshole. JK, you're all right. Wow.
Well, in that same
to someone who's worked for him.
Well, in that same series follows exactly what that 14-year-old or 15-year-old released.
Yep.
It's the same thing where he attacked. She said, I'm underage. He said, what are you, a faggot? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a little drunk and you're jailbait. Why are you jailbait?
See, that's the thing. Is like he blames everything on alcohol, and it's like maybe you're just a shitty person.
And you made the choice to drink the alcohol, knowing what you're like when you drink it. Therefore, you've made the choice. It's like people. I didn't know the alcohol would make me, kill those people on the road. Well, you did know.
Now, I will say personally,
I knew the two of you were trying real hard.
Song idea, pretty fucking funny.
Imagining what can only be described as a mobile of dicks above you, slowly
I
turning.
Suppose. I mean, that's hilarious. What he had in mind.
And I could absolutely picture it on the show.
It's still
it's not something you say to a woman.
Was it for the show or just randomly request?
He just, according to the messages, he asked her to write a song about that. And I have no idea if she was working for Rick and Morty at the time, but she had in the past. So I assume I don't know. I really don't know there.
Squirt, squeak.
What?
It's all the same color no matter the dick it comes out of.
Like, I just imagine like a mobile of dicks and you're like, meh.
But, okay, that's not an idea to send in a DM to a previous coworker.
No.
That's something that you should probably talk to your producers about.
That's also not something you one-on-one.
And you put it in an email, a business email. No, this is going to sound weird, but this is where we're going.
Here's the episode. Here's the idea we're trying to get across. Not, I need to see 9 dicks jizzing on you.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
To combat racism.
Can you come to my house and sing it to me softly?
Let me follow this up with a homophobic comment.
And
I'm so sorry. I don't like. Can we blur the?
It's okay if you're
slurs.
quoting.
We're literally quoting what he said.
He said it,
but I don't like that word. I hate that word. So
a lot of people don't like the word, but he definitely said it, and it needs to be understood that he didn't say the F word. He actually called people faggot, like randomly when they were like, "This is you're making me uncomfortable." That's how he responded. That's like the
response.
No, and back to the underage thing, because I don't think that I read this thing about were these faked or not.
Yeah. And
it was like, no, there was things that couldn't be faked on it. I don't quite.
Well, they all seem,
that.
I guess people could read the ones that are surfacing and kind of pattern them. However, they do all seem to
follow that same
pattern. That same pattern and
and he's not denying that these tweets aren't real. That's the thing.
Yeah, no, and that's another interesting.
He hasn't come out and been like, I didn't do any of that.
That's another interesting thing is that no one's saying anything. No. Obviously, he's not saying anything. He's not. He's never really been a big social media person anyway. But no statements. Nothing from him. Nothing from Harmon.
I think part of it though is what I would say as his attorney is don't make any statements, because not only are you already facing a legal battle as it is, anything you say that
looks bad,
and you could possibly opening yourself up to new charges,
right?
Because especially if you're grooming a 14-year-old.
Well, this is certainly mounting evidence.
Well,
yes. and I do not foresee an end to this anytime soon. So once these domestic charges are sorted and we figure out what's going on there, this is absolutely something he's going to have to address.
Right. It's not like he has just these charges and that's it, and that's what people are talking about. It's like now because this has come out, and it's crazy because a lot of it is I was trying to see, but it's sealed, which is very weird for...
Oh, yeah. No. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Especially for civil.
Yeah, not even that, criminal. Criminal is always public record.
Yeah.
Especially under the circumstance that you're facing. Like, that has to be public record for a lot of stuff. Unless it's like a juvenile or something to that effect. But that's why I'm wondering if it involves a juvenile.
Maybe. At this point, we don't know.
And I wonder with, like, NBC letting him go or whatever, a lot of this is...
Not NBC, Adult Swim.
Adult Swim, whatever. Turner, which is what that bullshit
Adult
is.
Swim and Hulu.
Yeah, Adult Swim is
those
Turner.
are the two big ones. Well, I know, but I'm just saying, like, those are the two that have let him go in the past week.
But I wonder if, since so much of this wasn't digital, and once they heard about the charges, if they didn't hire, like, a forensic... guy.
Yeah.
Because he was probably doing there's no way he wasn't doing this kind of shit at work.
No.
For them to track it all down and bring him in there in front of the board and be like, look, dude, this is all going to come to light. You're fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, we don't know how much they know, and they have infinite money to throw at and make sure that they're on the right side of this thing before it hits the fan.
So, they're always going to pick the avenue that doesn't affect the bottom line. And anyone is replaceable.
Well, not just that, but it's not even just the bottom line. If they thought he could come out of this and still work, they wouldn't fire him.
Right.
Yeah, that's very true.
I'd be willing to bet they have done they're not digging
There's
around.
things we don't know. There's things that we don't know that Adult Swim knows. Adult Swim knows. I mean...
And also he has a history of saying and doing these things, because back in 2011, he was on a podcast called The Grandma's Virginity. Mm-hmm. And out of his own mouth, he says, and this is almost verbatim, if he could put his adult mind in a 9-year-old's body, he would be able to fuck all the other... he says fourth graders.
Yes,
fourth graders are 9 years old. He would be able to fuck all the other fourth graders because he would know how to,
do it.
do it. And then when they're like, wow, that
was weird.
That's a little pedophilic. And he says, now this is verbatim from him. Look, I'll say, a fucking 14-year-old that looks like she's 18 and has big titties. Of course I'm attracted to that. These girls are fully developed and they're talking online like I want you to fuck me.
Context, he's talking about To Catch a Predator. His exact words to begin with
fuck Chris Hansen.
were, fuck Chris Hansen.
Fuck Chris Hansen.
Are you kidding
He's like, have
me?
you seen the pictures they send people to lure them in? And he said, these girls are out here looking like women.
No one accused these men of being smart.
So, and my thing is, I don't care if you send me a picture. If I am a single dude and you're like, here's a picture of a 40-year-old swimsuit model. She's 12. Do you want to come over while her parents aren't home?
No, I don't.
Hard fucking pass, bro.
No, because you know what? Up here, she's 12.
Yeah.
That is not attractive. I'm sorry. I don't care. Why are you looking at her titties when she's 12? And then he says, he's like, look, I'll say it. Look, a fucking 14-year-old. Okay. He says, as a race, are we that crazy? When we were fucking 100 years ago, little 13-year-old girls, they were built like women. They were getting married and having kids. I'm not a pedophile, though.
Yeah, we were dying. I was talking to Casey about this.
That we're not a pedophile.
We were dying by our mid-20s back then.
Yeah.
You had to. It was a necessity to keep the population
going. And all this
going.
happened because his co-host, Howard, was talking about how he was trying to help him talk to women. And he was joking with him saying he doesn't know how to talk to women unless they're 14. And he was like, well, she's 22. And okay.
He said that?
Yeah. He was like, well, 22. Mm-hmm. And he was like, no, you're a pedophile. And everything got super quiet. And he was like, I'm not. You're going to have people thinking I'm not. Pedophilia is gross. But then he goes on, fuck Chris Hansen. Nah. And
I will get very specific here. Don't think he's a pedophile. Think he's a hebephile, which is basically girls of puberty age versus pedophile is specifically
young kids.
Children.
Yeah.
I'm not, this is just me being pedantic. I don't think he's a pedophile. I do think he's a hebephile. I think he wants to fuck girls that are 13, 14, 15.
Right.
Which, hey man.
It's so gross.
It's so fucked up beyond
gross.
words. And my stance on this is, I don't think there's any kind of rehabilitation for that. You shouldn't be allowed to live with people. Like, you can't be trusted in society.
Yeah.
The end. And that's just my personal stance.
And the fact that he's like, these girls out here looking like women and women like this. No.
They can look however they want to look.
Right. You're sexualizing. That means that in his mind, titties equals
Adult.
Being a woman.
Yep.
Yeah. There's nothing to do with your brain or who you are.
I had tits when I was 9. That does not make me a woman.
In one of those DMs, he nicknamed the girl Jailbait. And he tells her, I'm going to probably go to jail. Well, yeah, you called it.
Well, the thing is, and that's the point where I draw the line, because that means he acknowledges what he's doing is wrong.
Yeah.
And he still fucking does it.
Mm-hmm.
That means you can't be trusted around people anymore.
Right. And his thing, like, they're asking for it.
No,
are you kidding, dude?
So here's my thought on that. Even if they are, they're not old enough to understand what they're really asking for.
Exactly.
Okay, so
the end.
Here's what I have to say about him. When it comes to you're saying that's not rehabilitatable. We can't fix that in a person.
You can't fix it if they know it's wrong and they keep doing it anyways.
Absolutely, yeah. So how do I make this point? Sorry.
No, that's fine.
I ship them off to an island somewhere by themselves.
I like execution.
I support that idea.
So do I, but no one's going to be on board with that. So ship them off.
I don't know. I'm going to tell you something, and they're not joking when they say this. People who are in prison for mass murders, for the worst of the worst, gang members and stuff like this, if you turn out to be any sort of child molestation charge, your ass is getting whooped. And I 100% agree with this.
Well, and like, we see the history, so I don't feel like, this... I think you're right. This is who he is. Because going back, and I did watch Rick and Morty. I know earlier in the podcast I said I would never.
No. Listen to me.
But I did watch it.
I am a /was ? A huge fan. Massive fan. I love the show.
I liked the layers and levels of that show a lot. It's not just in your face, gross laughter. There was a lot to it, and it really sucks that one of the people behind this, also actually both of them, the other guy actually came forward and admitted publicly.
He's got
and
a
he
track
apologized.
record.
Yeah. But he acknowledged it, and it's like, I'm a shitty person. You know.
I mean, at least you can acknowledge you're a shitty person.
But going back, I'm thinking about when Morty dated Planetara, and his mom had a problem because he was 14 and she's an adult having a sexual relationship, and they made her look so stupid, the mom, for having these problems, and you were supposed to feel bad for Morty, and the way they always sexualize Summer, and the teacher dreaming about all of his remember in the very first season.
Oh yeah, where
I think
he's
it was the
feeling
first
up Mr.
episode.
Goldenfold in his sleep.
Yeah.
No.
Well, there's a lot of that, especially like where Rick makes Morty watch him having sex with people, like, and be present during it. Like, it's just really weird.
Mm-hmm. You're talking about the soul orgy.
Uh-huh.
You're talking about the soul orgy from Claw and Hoarder.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that the one with the big ape?
It's the dragons.
It's the one with the dragons.
Oh.
The slut dragons.
The slut dragons.
Or when he dates Rick dates the galaxy, and Morty's around for a lot of that.
He fucked a planet.
Yeah.
He fucked a planet.
What was her name? The one that
I can't
He
remember.
called her
Unity.
Gaia.
Unity.
Oh, the entity. Okay,
Unity.
Okay, so now we're just talking about Rick.
Well, and she
Sanchez'
broke Rick's heart, and that was really
dating.
sad when she leaves him, and
Yeah.
and he's a little heartbroken over that.
But again, right away, as soon as they get to the planet, he's like, I want every redhead you've got in this stadium, and
Oh,
Yeah.
redheads are a thing for that show.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically.
And-
That's a weird thing.
yeah.
And
You better watch yourself.
look who's redheaded. I'm summoned.
Yeah.
Look who's redheaded. Summer.
Summer.
You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And she's constantly being sexualized on the show.
Yeah.
But some things are just comedy. But
I
Yeah.
will say, to Becky's point, even with putting them in prison and knowing they're going to get their ass beat, a lot of those people are set free.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the problem for me, is they're going to be back in population.
Oh, absolutely. And here's the thing. It's one of those things that it's not an outward crime that you see immediately.
Absolutely.
You murder somebody, there's a dead body. You rob somebody, there's a victim. You have victims that are like ongoing long-term victims who are groomed into this, and they never say a word. You spurn a culture and people's like fucked up mental health issues about what a relationship should look like.
Yeah.
It becomes generational.
Well, and I wonder, and that's why I say, I don't think they should be allowed near people anymore.
I agree.
Because
Go
even
diddle each other.
Yeah, even with prison, they're eventually going to get out a lot of the
Yeah.
times, and then they're back amongst human beings where they can harm
And it's actually,
children.
I'll tell you this, it's one of the hardest crimes unless you have physical evidence, video. It's a crime in which every person who has to testify or ever be involved in this case is traumatized. Let's say you have 13-year-old, 13, 14-year-old who's been groomed. Not only do they have to relive it, and let's say that there's no pictures or text messages or anything like that, they have to explain it to a forensic investigator. They have to present it to the police. They have to deal with the fact that some people aren't going to believe them. They have to deal with the fact that
there's a defense attorney questioning everything you say.
Exactly.
And making it out to be a
You're
lie.
going to have to relive it again. You're probably going to have to relive it at least 2 more times in front of the ADA that's handling the case, because they're going to want to hear it over and over again. And then on top of that, you have to go in front of 12 people and tell them it again and deal with the ramifications if they don't believe you. That's why it's such a hard crime to deal with.
On top of having to have the kits done by the gynecologist or
a rape kit, which by the way, half the time they don't show anything.
I'm not always gonna. If you're a boy, I'm sure there's a different somebody who proves, but you have to go through all of that again.
It's just brutal. And then even after all that, when it is found guilty, we still let those people back into society after a while. Like, fuck every bit of that. Exile.
Yeah, absolutely. And he was talking about how these women or these girls back in the day were 13 years old and having babies and all that good stuff. We're past that.
Yes.
Okay? We don't need...
Kids can be kids.
That is... I don't know if that is some kind of ingrained compulsion within hebophiles/pedophiles. I don't know. However, today, we have moved past that. We have done there's volumes of data and research done on the trauma of a child being introduced to that kind of psychological
sexual abuse.
A child being introduced to that situation, what it does to their minds, what it does to them emotionally, and also, I mean, God forbid, pregnancy.
Yeah.
I mean, a 13-year-old carrying a child to term?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so we've
fifth...
gotten past the fact that we don't need to do that anymore.
Women can get pregnant in their 40s now. Like, we're not at a point where we're just living for the population.
We used to not get to our 40s.
Yeah, now we do get to our 40s. Hey, grow the fuck up and date somebody with a brain.
Right. So, as he was saying, I mean, they're growing up and getting married and having kids. We're past that as a society, and it's now considered wrong, and it as it should be, because it's so toxic, it's so harmful. It does just immeasurable harm to a child,
mentally and physically.
God forbid pregnancy.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't know. It's one of those things where I wish people understood the ramifications that come not only with it. Like, yeah, we could talk about, like, oh, he did this. Oh, we should just send him off. It's like, just execute him.
My thing is, even if they understood the ramifications, they would not care.
No.
Because they have to understand them at this point.
Yeah, and that's sociopath behavior. You know what I mean? You recognize that you're doing wrong. You don't care.
Well, he does, because he apologizes. He knows what he's doing is wrong. He just doesn't care.
That's not... Okay, there's all these... Okay, what he's talking about, what Chris is talking about, are these text messages that aren't, again, not proven, but he keeps... That pattern we were talking about, he keeps coming back and saying, oh, that's not me. That's not who I am. I was drinking.
Even the ones we read, that's what he said.
Okay, that's not an apology. That's him going back and covering his ass.
Yes.
Like, oh, this is the reason I did that. That's not who I am. And then he goes out and does it again.
Well, the thing is, like, his plan is basically, if they move forward with it and are okay with it, he keeps going with it. Yeah. And if they don't, that's his out. Oh, I was just drunk. It's my bad.
Yeah, he can.
I was just kidding, unless you're serious.
Honestly, it's not gaslighting. It's almost like a narcissist, if anything. Or maybe not even narcissism. I can't think of the word.
It's manipulation.
It gets manipulation. It's a great way to see, like, lead into a conversation to see what they're going to say. Because if they're open to it, then he's going to continue it. But if there's no response back to it, it's like, oh, sorry, I was drunk. I didn't even know what I was
like the
about.
girl he called jailbait who posted his DMs.
Yeah.
And she was just like, I have school tomorrow. And he's like...
she's 15.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, you're no fun, or do you fucking faggot?
How old is Justin Roiland? Does anybody know?
42.
So I'll go tell you, he's older than me. Do you know what I have in common with a 15-year-old girl?
Nothing.
Fuck all.
Fucking nothing.
Fuck all. That's what you have in common.
No, you do have one thing: a love of Taylor Swift, most likely.
I don't even know if they like Taylor Swift anymore. I think it's like the 20-year-olds now.
Yeah.
However, T-Swizzle aside, me and 15-year-old girls have nothing in common.
T-Swizzle aside. Yeah.
Again, I have... Me and my wife
She's not even 15.
I know. Have family that are
like
21, 22. It's the dumbest human being I've ever met. They're just all 20-year-olds are stupid and I don't want to talk to them.
We were all stupid at 20.
I know, but I'm not 20 anymore.
Well, that's what I'm going to say. At 15,
but that's the point.
Yeah, at 15, there's nothing that you have in common with each other. I had to go to work today and pay my bills. I learned about the Civil War. Like, what is there to talk about?
I had to go sit with my CPA for 4 hours. How was your day?
Oh, it turns out, like,
Rainbows and unicorns and My Little Pony.
Turns out I read at a college level. Isn't that amazing?
Cool, you're literate.
So, going back to
We have a really low standard for reading.
Okay, so going back to the... Am I supposed to call you Angie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have fake names
You
on
can
this
call me
podcast.
Mommy.
Yeah.
Okay, so going back to what Mommy said.
They call me Daddy Longstrokem.
Oh, so fancy.
If you don't think that's exactly what I'm about to call both of you.
Mommy and Daddy Longstroken.
Okay, so going back to
I have achieved a pinnacle of victory I didn't know I was looking for.
I'm new to the podcasting world, so hey. All right, so going back to the jailbait text messages that you were talking about, these are the ones that are. This is another one that's emerged that may hold a little water. Again, we don't know. I wanted to read those. Can I go ahead and read those?
Yeah.
Okay, so it starts out. Okay, so I'm just looking at a screenshot. Roiland, oh yeah, sorry at the airport. It's insane in the membrane.
Oh god. Like she's gonna get that reference.
Insane in the. Oh my god, like that. Like
hello,
if she's
fellow.
13.
Hello, fellow children.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Steve Buscemi's 90, holding a skateboard and a backwards hat.
We can only hope to be that.
Insane in the membrane. What time is it there now? Respondee, person. I don't know. What time is it there now?
Just say jailbait.
I'm not gonna call her that.
That's what he calls her.
That's what he calls her. So you say Justin and then jailbait.
Yeah.
Or you can call her Jane Doe.
I like that.
Or JB.
Okay.
Jailbait.
So anyway, what time is it there now? Jane Doe, 11:37. Oh, so rate. So rate. Me so Chinese.
What?
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh,
hold on.
no. Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
he say so rate?
With an R.
With an R?
With R's.
Uh-huh.
Me so
Wait.
Chinese. Wow, that's the thing you said out loud. I have Jane Doe responded. I have school tomorrow. Frowny faces. Oh, school tomorrow. Oh no. LL.
Fa ra 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 ra.
What a fucking shithole! Like,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I hate this guy so
That's
much.
not cool.
My
Yeah.
brain cell is exploding.
Like, I don't understand. And believe me, I understand being stupid when you're young and trying to flirt with girls.
Not a 42-year-old man.
What is he trying to accomplish?
This
Oh,
is
Is
a
he
whole
hoping-
new ass generation. These kids don't find that funny.
is
He's
he-
so
not only that,
insulting. This is the woke generation.
Is
Yeah.
he hoping she hates Asians?
Mhm.
Anyway, her response to that I find
Oh,
amusing.
please God, let her be Asian.
Fuck, I don't know. Her response I find amusing. FMLLLLL. I mean, I would, yeah, agree.
She's just trying to
She's
play
like,
easy
oh,
out.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Can you stop
Cringy
Yes.
AF.
Oh my god, this guy.
You should just run away from home and go. I'm sorry. So FMLLL. Roiland, you should just run away from home and go into sex. Jane Doe. Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
Roiland says, you should just go run away from home and go into sex slavery. All caps, you fucking stupid faggot bitch. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Oh, and then since another
that
one,
went from being racist to being really fucking
just,
nasty.
that's aggressive.
Yeah.
That was aggressive.
Asian. I would bet money right now she's Asian.
Yeah.
Her response, you wish, you stupid bitch, all caps, which, you know, I agree with that one. But right after he called her a fucking stupid faggot bitch, immediately, in parentheses, JK. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm
so
just
funny.
joking. Oh my God.
Hilarious. Would you do,
Just joking.
so it continues, would you do video game reviews and stuff like that? I bet you'd do good. Yeah, and Jane Doe, yeah, just playing games and shit. Then Roiland responds, then once you turn 18, you can just start cam whoring.
Yeah. Got to get that hook in there. So
Right,
he
right.
says that she's about to be done with him.
Right.
You could do reviews. Like just playing games? And then-
Why?
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. Why are you another response? Why are you such jailbait? What's wrong with you in that regard? You should grow older, you dumb bitch. Is it cool being jailbait? Does the FBI follow you around arresting all the men you sleep with?
And you notice no response from Titty Meat.
Maybe. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't
but
know that.
again, these are all speculative. These
So
can
even
be
if she is
faked.
responding,
These can
This
be faked.
sounds like-
But
what?
yikes. And I'll tell you why I'm saying yikes because of these text messages. Okay, his game company, Squanch Games, back in 2019 had a very quiet sexual harassment settlement.
And
Wasn't there a cartoon with a hammer that walked around?
Hammer Morty. I'm more than just a hammer.
That's it.
This sucks. I love this fucking show, and it's...
Even with that, with the
fucking assholes,
you should do game reviews, and then when you turn 18, you can cam whore. He's basically trying to see if she wants to get on camera.
Yeah,
right.
He's just trying to lead her into it.
Yeah. Oh, this is fishing. Totally grooming her.
And it's like, dude,
it's fishing, and
come the fuck on. You can message me. I'll show you my beehole.
Yeah.
For money.
He'll do it.
I am not a child.
You're not a child. You're safe.
There may be hemorrhoids. God knows what. Let's get in there.
Poo-poo stain right there.
We'll get into the whole thing.
Right.
A little bit of toilet paper that's just been forgotten a couple of times.
Whatever.
Yeah. When you wash it, it's just in like a prison pocket.
The prison pocket.
Not that there's
you
anybody.
mean a pocket dimension?
No, it's a prison pocket.
Pocket
There's
dimension.
a lot of stuff in there, Becky, that shouldn't be there. I was like,
Suitcase.
Becky, what's wrong with your prison pocket?
Wow.
I had a bad poo-poo that day.
All right.
And I'm like, why does it halfway up your back then? Like, what is wrong? How do you wipe that these things get there?
Do we have to share
How did that
everything
get
about our
there?
relationship?
I'm just making it up.
There's no mystery.
I know.
What were you saying?
Oh, dude. You're basically married. There's no... The romance is dead.
Yeah, the mystery is gone.
So, anyway, the reason why I'm kind of thinking, and again, not saying for sure, I'm kind of thinking that there is that those could hold some water, these messages and tweets, is that back in 2019, Justin Roiland's video game company, Squanch Games, quietly settled a sexual harassment suit in 2019. Now, he wasn't involved in that. It wasn't him harassing anyone. It was, it was a director. And there was an animator who she felt, it was a director, his name is Jeff Dixon, and a designer named Sarah Dukakis. She was repeatedly harassed by this supervisor, and it fell on deaf ears. Mm-hmm. No, I mean, as that unfortunately so often happens. After that, they ignored her and downplayed it, kind of like, don't even, that's just, it's not a big deal. That's not really sexual harassment, that sort of thing. The CEO that was allegedly told Dukakis, quote, "This is just how this generation of guys are," and encouraged her to simply deal with it.
Cultivating it's cultivating definitely an environment of being toxic.
Yeah.
Being toxic to women and toxic to anybody that is not a dude.
He's just being silly.
Yeah.
He's just
he
being
didn't
a
mean
guy.
anything by that.
Mean it. Like, guys just are guys.
Boys
guys.
will be boys. Oh my god.
That's really stupid. I mean, here's the thing. At the end of the day, what's sad about this is that this is not uncommon.
No, that's what I was saying is as so often happens, it just falls on deaf ears. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's reasons. There's reasons from both sides. People fake that shit a lot.
Yeah.
However, it also happens a lot.
This also isn't uncommon in Adult Swim because something similar happened to MC Chris when he was working on Aqua Teen Hunger Force, which is kind of why he took off.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, there you go. I mean, like that's sort of...
It's the end of... I think it's a lot of it is the entertainment industry as well.
Well, yeah, I mean...
You live in a world where everybody just yes-mans you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if you have, like, something that gets so popular like Rick and Morty, or you have you become kind of an iconic figure in, like, making, like, in the animated world and stuff like that, you have a lot of people that are going to be yes men to you.
Huh? Yeah, and it's going to be really easy to corral 13-year-olds.
Yeah, and I mean, and especially if
when you're the creator of Rick and Morty,
I mean, you think about it,
can totally hold that.
Well, especially like I'm the creator of Rick and Morty, I'm showing you attention. Maybe I don't have. Maybe she has low self-esteem, or whoever it is. Maybe this is a big deal. And really, at the end of the day, you don't want to make her mad.
He's the creator of Rick and Morty, and he's showing you attention.
Yeah,
these
it's like he is fucking them up.
Yeah,
these people that he is doing this to, it's just manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
They're naive.
Right.
They're children.
He has hero status. He's an adult. He has
so cool.
Which
love Rick and Morty. He's messaging me.
Love Rick and Morty. He's an adult. Something must be wrong with me that an adult man wants me, so I must be this thing that he's accusing me of.
Yeah.
I must just be only cam whore bait.
So, continuing about the Squanch Games suit back in 2019, Dukakis was fired about 3 months. 3 months later, with the company, citing her for performance as a reason for termination. So a lawsuit was filed. This alleged termination, they feel, was in retaliation about Mr. Dixon. Squanch eventually settled out of court with Dukakis in September of 2019, while Dixon and Watson are no longer employed by the company. A Squanch spokesman person said, quote, Squanch Games is committed to creating an inclusive and supportive work environment for our team. We don't publicly disclose personal matters, and we stand by the decision we made in 2017 not to reveal the confidential information it relates to this case.
It's just ironic.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Just the...
Right, because things that are okay come from the top.
If
Right.
that isn't like some indication that there might be something here.
Oh, yeah.
There's some issues. And the reason I say that is because it's the very end here. They withheld her paycheck.
Which is illegal.
They made her sign
An NDA?
not quite an NDA, but something that released them from all wrongdoing.
Oh, before they would settle.
That's right. Okay, so they withheld her paycheck, and they weren't going to give it to her unless she signed a document that they drew up saying that we're not in the wrong, we didn't do anything wrong, and you acknowledge that.
And you're not
Right.
going to pursue anything
And
else.
Then you'll
honestly,
get your money.
Becky, does that document hold weight since they
No.
were doing it
And
right?
no.
Because it was an illegal, like, hold you hostage fashion.
Well, on top of it, it's like, well, exactly, like you're signing it under duress because your paycheck's being withheld,
Yeah.
and they're going to just
which
say,
was illegal in the first place.
right, you can't do
Yeah.
that. And then on top of it, you really can't, especially if basically trying to tell somebody to say, like, this didn't happen.
Eat shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's illegal. You
Eat
can't.
shit.
But somebody, this is that culture that you spurn, is that idea that as long as you can hide it and sweep it under the rug, nobody's going to say anything about it.
Mhm.
Sounds like hashtag Blizzard a little bit.
Right.
Just
From working in the corporate world, these values are set at the top. The way a company acts is how it's set at the top. So if it's okay here, it's more than okay here. Because what do they say? Shit rolls downhill.
That's right.
Yeah, you get an idea of what they talk about when they're sitting around, you know, at their executive
What kind of
meetings.
people they really are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Closed doors. You know what I'm saying?
And you tend to be around people like you.
Mm-hmm. They're goofy guys. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's certain they're goofy people. You know what I mean? Like, and you're gonna, you know, obviously you're gonna birds of a feather. But
You're going to, yeah.
But on the heels of the Squanch Games suit in 2019, something I found interesting was that just before all of this hit the fan, he resigned from Squanch Games. He co-founded it.
Oh, so he actually resigned before anything was actually came out about the harassment.
He
itself.
stepped down. He actually stepped down this month.
No, it's okay. If he has a board or any investors, they would have asked him to step down.
Well, that's the thing. Is
He
like,
didn't do this out of his own goodwill.
Right.
He stepped.
Why?
Yeah.
What do they know that we don't?
Mm-hmm.
What do they know that they're not releasing? What?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Why did it?
Right.
Right. Okay. So he resigned from his video game this video game company that he co-founded, and that's fishy. That seems fishy to me because immediately after we find out about these domestic charges, and then we find out we see this ick emerging.
It's most likely what's happening is they're telling him, like, as things are about to come out, you're going to have to leave. Like,
Shit's about to hit the fan.
Yeah, shit's about to hit the fan, you know, and imminently.
Yeah, you're costing the company money.
You're going to cost. We
Yeah.
have to be able to maintain some sort of reputation that we did the right thing when this all comes out, especially if they're 2 years behind on the domestic violence charges. At this point, like, anything else that starts rolling down, the entire company itself is going to be done for. So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and anytime anything happens like that, you're supposed to tell the company you work for, because the lawyers have to come together and determine if the company is liable for anything you did.
yeah.
Which in this case, it is going to roll down to them.
Yeah.
Especially with what came out about the lawsuit there.
It's his company,
Mhm.
you know. So
Yep. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he didn't step down as an act of goodwill, so the company didn't go down with him.
no, and again, I don't know how his company's set up. I don't know if they have shareholders or whatever. But if they do, and he's not majority shareholder, and they get together and be like, "You get the fuck out,"
You get out.
He doesn't have a choice. So like, you can resign or we can fire you.
Yeah, and I kind of suspect that was the case. You can either resign or we can fire you. Yeah. So, but again, I would like to say that that this is all of the stuff about underage fans and all that simply speculation. I mean, the things that have come, there's certainly a mounting case. However, there are no legal proceedings involving
so technically
that.
These are just allegations,
but from
so don't sue us.
Right.
And from his own mouth, after the podcast, hearing him say it.
If you want to listen to it, I don't recommend it, but if you want to listen to it, the episodes are...
Yeah, let me know, because I got to get hard.
We don't agree with that. Whatever he says out of his mouth is not necessarily in agreement with the TheFreeRotation podcast.
But seriously, let me be the first to say, fuck Justin Roiland.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
No. I don't allegedly. Fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy.
Again, fuck anybody that tries to take advantage of children.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah.
And fuck him for what he said about kids by his own mouth.
Yeah.
Like fourth grade.
Not a good look,
that's who you're
homie.
looking at going back in time and fucking.
Well, like
from your own mouth.
Not only that, but who puts forth the energy to think that up? Like,
yeah.
If I could go back in time with an adult's brain, I'd go back to when I was 16 and invest a bunch of money in some up and coming businesses.
I know.
Yeah.
Like,
I would tell
that's where my brain goes.
Hey, there's this new website coming out called Facebook.
Yahoo.com.
Yeah.
You're going to want to get in on that.
Google.
I would go back to
Tesla.
16-year-old me and just be like, you're a fucking moron. That's all. Thank you. Bye.
That's
Bye.
all.
Oh, we were all real dumb. We had to play... So when I was 16, we had to play a stock market game. And this was like 99, 2000, somewhere in there. And you basically fake invest so much money and you have to watch it.
Yeah. In high school, yeah. Oh, man.
So we won state because we invested every dime we had into Yahoo. And it was right before Christmas. And it was when Yahoo was just getting popular.
Yeah.
And it went from like $9 a share to like $700. Like, we'll sell now?
Yep.
And I'm like, fuck, why didn't I invest like $1,000 of this in real money?
I talked to my team because this was in 9th grade for us, and I talked to my team. I'm like, let's invest in the Sins. So we invested in Playboy. We invested in Bush. We invested in Marlboro, and we didn't make or lose money. We made money slowly,
enough, yeah.
but
as a grown man, let me tell you, I am not invested in Bush.
yeah.
But no, that's what a lot
Bush owns a lot of beers.
I know.
Yeah.
That was a lot of our the other teams were like, we're going to invest in Coke and Pepsi, and I'm like, you're not going to lose
big
money,
gains.
but there's no growth,
Right?
No.
And when I'm like, let's invest in something that may make us billionaires with fake money, but whatever.
Right.
It's like, well, what if it doesn't do anything? I'm like, then who cares? That's the whole point of this.
Yeah.
Right. We're not losing real money.
Yeah, that's not my cash. I don't give a crap.
But anyway, just to close up on that, it's an unfolding story. We don't know.
Yeah.
And it's potentially it's been very damaging to the show and obviously and to the fan base. If this is true and this comes like that, all this is true, he's let a lot of people down.
And keep in mind when
But
listeners,
if not,
as you're canceling him, don't cancel these shows that good people worked on.
right?
So-
It takes more.
Yeah, they
than,
took him off.
Yeah, he's gone. He supposedly only actually wrote 6 of the episodes of Rick and Morty.
per IMDb.
He did voice Rick and Morty and some other characters. They are currently in the process of auditioning people to replace him for the voicing.
That happened like 2 days after they
And you
hired
can
him.
go online and look at some of these auditions, and these dudes are insane.
Spot on.
From his mouth, there are videos of him reacting to impersonations, and he's like, "If you closed your eyes."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's
not
a
special.
guy that's they're really interested in. But yeah, so bottom line is it's unfolding. We don't know.
Every once in a while,
we're just gonna have to wait.
Yeah, I was about to say, every once in a while, we do have current events that are actually happening in our podcast, not 2,000-year-old boxes that
May or may not exist. Who knows?
So if that's something that you guys are interested in, though, if you guys like this, we really want to know. I know I sound really scatterbrained and crazy, but if you guys like this, let us know. We'll cover things within the nerdosphere. and it won't always be scandals and gossip, like, you know, the hot goss. You know, we'll talk about the video games that are coming out, movies that are coming out, games that are coming out.
Don't get me started on D&D.
And tune in next week when we talk about the Holy Grail when we start to cover all the Indiana Jones movies all at
I was
once.
going to say, are we really going to go through all of the relics at this point?
Well, we got the Crystal Skulls, we got the Holy Grail.
Well, no, we did talk about the Crystal Skull because it related to Hitler and the occult when they found it up in the attic.
Okay, that's what Spear of Destiny. I can get on that. That's
We've already done Spear of Destiny.
I've never seen an episode. Oh my god, I've never seen a movie, an Indiana Jones movie, not one.
Is that divorce papers in your pocket?
I actually watch them when she's not there because she'll bother me.
Oh.
She'll have too many questions and I just don't want to deal with it.
I've never seen a single Indiana Jones movie.
Just not worth the headache.
I would just like to leave with one closing statement. Don't be a fucking pedophile. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah,
That's
gross.
a pretty easy statement.
Hebophiles, give me the heebie-jeebies.
Seriously. Fuck adults.
But bibliophiles, all down for that.
What if they're hebephile bibliophiles?
You better not have the hebo in any part of
See,
your story.
like squares of rhombus, but...
Turn off the podcast!
How is it that this Middle Easterner hates Hebrews? She
Right.
said it out loud.
She said it.
She doesn't want any Hebrew
I
files.
will kill you.
Cancel culture, get us.
You
I'm not a
infidel.
Jew.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, bye guys.
Bye. Thanks for joining us. You can check out
Rage and Rage.
RaeganRageQuit. RaeganRageQuit. You want to give us your socials?
Yeah, it's at RaeganRageQuit on Twitter and Instagram. That's all I'm on.
And what
right
about
now.
Twitch? And you have Discord,
I'm on
right?
Twitch, but I am on Twitch, but I'm not really streaming actively right now.
Mm-hmm.
But you
yeah.
know who is streaming? We
The
are.
TheFreeRotation.
And
And
listen,
Pass the
homie, I had to
partner.
work. Okay. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Well-oiled machine we got here.
This is gonna be so
Man,
much
she
fun.
thinks we're good at this or some shit.
What? I don't think you guys are good at
Really?
anything.
You don't think you're good?